I once believed marriage was held together by trust. The night I uncovered my wife's betrayal, I realized that same trust can cut deeper than any blade. For months, Emily had been pulling away. Her phone clung to her hand like it held her soul. I'd catch whispers from the kitchen when she thought I was asleep. Laughter meant for someone else. Clues I brushed aside until they piled into a truth I couldn't ignore. One evening she suggested we spend a quiet night together. Just us, she said, smiling in a way that felt rehearsed. My instincts screamed that someone else was hidden behind that performance. And they were right. Buried in her messages, the ones I finally dared to open, was his name. Mark. A coworker I'd met once at a company dinner. I'd shaken his hand, never realizing that same hand was touching what I thought belonged to me. Their conversations revealed plans down to the wine she claimed she'd bought for me and her. What she never imagined was that I had already seen it all. She never suspected I was moving pieces before the first glass was poured. I could have confronted her, exploded, thrown accusations into her face. But fury only burns. Silence builds strategy. So I played my role. I told her I'd be working late, letting her believe the house would be theirs for the night. Behind that lie, I made one move that turned her secret into a spectacle. I called his wife, Sarah. I still remember the sound of her breathing on the phone, disbelief cracking into rage as I read every word aloud. She must have suspected, but hearing proof broke something inside her. And then, instead of sobbing, she let out a jagged laugh and whispered, "Tell me where and when." The stage was set. Emily dressed in silk, the same dress she once wore only for anniversaries. She curled her hair, painted herself as if preparing for a celebration, but none of it was for me. Candles flickered, music hummed softly, the room staged like a romance scene stolen from a cheap novel. When Mark arrived, she greeted him with a kiss at the door. The same lips that once swore forever to me. Neither of them knew I was already there, waiting in the shadows of my own home. My blood boiled, but I stayed steady. This wasn't about pain. It was about truth. Sarah slipped in through the side gate as we'd arranged. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned hot. When she saw them tangled on the couch, Emily giggling, Mark's hands wandering, she didn't scream. She didn't rush. She looked at me, nodded once. That was all I needed. I stepped into the living room. Slow. Measured. Emily froze mid-laugh, the color draining from her face. Mark jolted upright, fumbling for excuses that never formed. Before they could even speak, Sarah entered behind me. The silence that fell was heavier than thunder. Emily whispered my name like a plea. But there was no salvation, only the trap snapping shut. "You invited him into our home," I said, my voice calm though my hands shook. "So I thought it was only right to invite his wife too." The look on her face, shock, shame, terror, was sweeter than any shouted revenge. For once, her performance collapsed, her lies stripped bare before the two people she most feared. Sarah moved first. Her hand struck Mark across the face so hard the crack echoed through the room. Years of suspicion and betrayal poured into that one blow. Emily crumbled, sobbing, begging, insisting it was a mistake. But her tears fell into silence, ignored. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I simply picked up the overnight bag I'd packed earlier, walked to the door, and left. Behind me, Emily collapsed in grief. Mark scrambled after Sarah as she stormed out. Two liars, exposed in the home they had poisoned. Driving away, I felt no heartbreak, no regret, only a cold satisfaction. Because revenge doesn't always mean destroying someone yourself. Sometimes it means standing back, letting them collapse under the weight of their own lies, and watching quietly as their world burns.